Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Jai Shri Ram. Welcome to our next episode in our complete reading of Srimad Valmiki Ramayana. In the previous episode, we saw how Vanaras surrounded Lanka and they were now getting ready for the battle. And now Ravana gets to know that his city is now surrounded by Vanaras. So he gets onto the top of his prasada. He doubles up all the security requirements of the city, and then he looks at all the Vanaras and then he thinks, what is the way in which I can actually overcome all these Vanaras? What is the way in which I can kill all these Vanaras? And that's what he thinks. On the other side, Sri Ramachandra is very happy. The entire army is charged up and he is leading them. So he thinks of Sita again here. So anyone who blames Sri Ramachandra, particularly these people who subscribe to some of these ideologies and who think Sri Ramachandra abandoned Sita and all, please read Ramayana. Even before this battle, Sri Ramachandra is thinking about her. He thinks of Sita. The exact thing here is Drishtva Dasarathir Lankam Chitradhvaja Patakinim Jagama Sahasa Sitam Tuyamanena Chetasa. Sri Ramachandra's heart was weeping, and with that he saw Sitama. He did a smarana of her. He thinks about Sitama and he says, the Sita is sleeping on the floor. She is taking all this pain just because of me. And then that gives him the renewed energy to attack Lanka, and he looks at his army and he says, go attack. And that's it. All the Vanarasena Nayakas, they quickly bring out the boulders, they quickly bring out the Parvata Shikharas. All of that is brought. They all hold them on their heads, on their hands, and they bring out huge trees. And with that, they start the attack on Lanka. They break the Brukhadwaras of Lanka, and then they start saying the mantra which Swami Hanuman gave us in YuddhaKanda, Jayatyurubalo Ramo. But here they are making a small modification. They are saying Jayatyurubalo Ramo Lakshmanasya Mahabalaha Raja Jayetsugrivo Raghavena Abhipalitaha Ityevam Ghoshayantascha Garjantascha Plavangamaha Abhyadhavanta Lankayah Prakaram Kamarupinaha. Now they were shouting that both Sri Ramachandra and Sugriva, they are at Sarvotkarsha level, and then they are shouting this. They start running towards Lanka Prakaras. The Veerabahu, Subahu, Nala, Panasa, they quickly took over the Lanka Prakara, and then Kumuda took 1 crore Vanaras with him, and he went and took the place which is southeast. The southeast corner was taken over by him. To help Kumuda, Prasabha and Panasa went along with their Vanaras, and then Shatabali, who is taking care of the Dakshina Dwara, he took 20 crore Vanaras and he moved from the Dakshina Dwara. Dakshina Dwara is being taken over by Angada now. So Shatabali takes like 20 crore Vanaras and he blocks the way of Dakshina Dwara and Nairati Bhaga both. In the meantime, Tara's father Sushena, he also goes to the Nairati Dwara with some crores and crores of Vanaras. Lakshmana, Sri Ramachandra, Sugriva, they stand at the Uttaradwara, and Dhumra also, he brings 1 crore Bhallukas, which is bears, and he stands beside Sri Ramachandra. Vibhishana and his ministers also, they also stand beside Sri Ramachandra. Now Gaja, Gavaksha, Gavaya, Sharabha, Gandhamadana, these people were roaming across the entire army, and they were looking for people who are in need of help, and they were actually helping those people who were needed. Now looking at all this, Swami Hanuman is also there at the western Dwara. Ravana saw all this and he immediately orders his entire Sena to go ahead and fight. And then all the Rakshasas, they came out and they started making all sorts of Shabdas. Vineduscha Mahaghosha Senkha Satasasratha Rakshasanam Sughoranam Mukha Maruta Purita. All these Rakshas, they took Shankhas, the conches, and they started blowing them. At the same time, Vanara Sainya also responded with their own voice. So on one side you are having the Shankadhvani, Dundubhidhvani from the Rakshasa side, and Vanaras were just shouting their hearts out. Actually, this sound was reverberating in all the 3 worlds. The elephants were brought out, the chariots came out, the Rakshasas came in full force along with their horses also, and then Vanaras also went on with their full force. The war was like a war between Devatas and Asuras. ततो वृक्षैर्महाकायाः पर्वताग्रैश्च वानराः निजघ्नुस्तानि रक्षांसि नगैर्दन्तैश्च वेगिनः राजा जयेत्सुग्रीव इति शब्दो महानभूत् राजन् जय जयेत्युक्त्वा स्वस्वनाम कथां ततः. these Vanaras were shouting, Sugriva will win, Sugriva will win, and they were fighting. They were jumping onto the Prakara. Prakara is basically the outer wall that is guarding that city. They were pulling those Rakshasas down from there and they were killing them in huge numbers, and the Rakshasas were biting dust. At this particular point of time, Indrajit comes out. Angada and Indrajit, they both are engaged in a huge fight. Vanara called Sampati. Sampati is now fighting with Prajanga. Hanuman is now fighting with another Jambumali. He is another Jambumali. We see about one Jambumali in SundarakaNda. He is another Jambumali who is fighting here. And then Vibhishana also starts fighting with a Rakshasa called Shatrughna. They both are also fighting heavily. In the same time, Gaja, one of the Vanaras called Gaja, he fights with a Rakshasa called Tapana. Neela starts engaging with Nikumbha. Sugriva is fighting with Praghasa. Lakshmana is fighting with Virupaksha. And then Agniketu, Rasmiketu, Mitragna, and Yajnakopa. Four of these, they start fighting with Sri Ramachandra. Another Rakshasa called Vajramushti is fighting with Mainda. Ashani Prabha starts a fight with Dvivida. So in a way, in all directions, people have come out to guard Lanka, and from all directions, Vanaras are trying to take over Lanka, and they are fighting. And Sushena is now fighting with Vidyunmali. No, remember who is the Sushena? Sushena is the father-in-law of Sugriva. Please remember that. So he is also coming. He has also come with a huge army. He is also fighting, and then the fight is actually going on huge. People were fighting as if there is no tomorrow. That's huge fight was going on, and then Indrajit was getting very angry, and then he started hitting Angada the way Devendra hits his enemies with Vajrayudha. He took a huge mace, a gada, and he hit Angada with it. Angada immediately shows his agility, his speed, and he breaks the entire Radha of Indrajit, and he also kills the Sarathi, and he also kills the Ashwas as well. So that's how Angada responds to the shot from Indrajit. Prajanga is using a lot of arrows on this Vanara called Sampati. Sampati immediately takes out huge Audumbara tree and he kills Prajanga with that. Jambumali also starts fighting with Swami Hanuman. He puts a lot of arrows onto Swami Hanuman, and Hanuman quickly goes into the air. Pasyatam Radhamastaya Hanuman Marutatmaja Brahmatalenasu Sahatenaiva Rakshasa. He immediately goes up, comes near the chariot, and in one shot he breaks the chariot as well as the Rakshasa. So all of them are dead. In the meantime, Pratapana, who is fighting with Nala, Nala immediately takes away his eyes, and then on the other hand, Praghasa, who is fighting with Sugriva, he uses a lot of arrows and he harms Sugriva. Sugriva quickly flies near him. He takes out a Saptaparna Vruksha, and in one swoosh, Praghasa is gone. And then Lakshmana, who is fighting with Virupaksha, they both fight for a long time, and Lakshmana quickly pulls out one arrow, and with that he kills off Virupaksha, Agniketu, Rashmiketu, Mitragna, and Yajnakopa. All of them start hurting Sri Ramachandra with their arrows. Sri Ramachandra quickly takes out 4 arrows that were actually instilling fire in everyone who is seeing, and with that he severs all those 4 heads. Desham Chaturnam Ramastu Siramsi Samare Sarehi Kruddas Chaturbhis Chicheda, means he has cut the heads of all 4 of them. Ghorai Ragni Sikhopamaihi. So that's how Sri Ramachandra kills the people who have come to fight with him. Vajramushtistu Maindena. Vajramushti is killed in the hands of Mainda. Mainda kills him with you close your fist and you hit, right? So that sort of a shot, he dies. Nikumbhastu Rane Neelam Neelanjana Chapya Prabham Nirbiveda Sarais Tikshnaihi Karair Megha Mivam Suman. So Nikumbha starts fighting with Neela. He injures Neela a lot. He makes a big attahasa. Tasseva ratchakarena Nilo Vishnurivahave Sirascheda Samare Nikumbhasis Saradhe. Neela quickly removes one of the wheels of his chariot, of Nikumbha's chariot, and with that he kills Nikumbha, his Saradhi also. And Dvivida kills Asaniprabha, and then Vidyunmali, who is fighting with Sushena, he uses a lot of arrows on Sushena. Sushena quickly takes out a huge mountain and he throws it on Vidyunmali. Vidyunmali jumps out of his ratha or his chariot, and then Sushena also takes a huge boulder and he tries to throw it on Vidyunmali. In the meantime, Vidyunmali quickly takes a gada and he hits Sushena on his chest. Sushena disregards it and he throws the huge boulder on Vidyunmali, and Vidyunmali dies. This way, all the Vanaras were gaining a heavy upper hand in this war, and the amount of blood that flew from Rakshasas was that the entire floor or the entire ground where the fight was happening, all that was getting wet with blood. That way, Vanaras were winning. And at this particular point, we'll stop this episode. We'll try to see what happens next in our next episode. For that, we require the grace of Raghukula Veera, Sita Manohara, Sri Ramachandra. May Sri Ramachandra bless us with enough intellect so that we can understand the next sargas in a much better way. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् सर्वं सद्गुरुसाईनाथाः चरणारविन्दार्पणमस्तु स्वस्ति जय श्रीराम।